This is John for johnnysbeat.com. Tonight, I have the pleasure of being on the beat with one of my favorite actresses. I've known her a long time. She's the sweetest as can be, Michelle Morris. How are you?
Good. How are you, John? It's
I
great to
am
be with
great. I'm talking to you. I haven't seen you in a little bit, but it's good to see you this way.
you. Yeah, likewise.
Let me ask you the first question, just to get any confusion out of the way. The name, you used to be called Portia for a while.
Yeah, Portia Shellin.
So anybody looking up online should look up either Portia Sheldon or Michelle Morris, actress.
Yeah, what's funny is the only way you can find me as Michelle Morris is if you search H.P. Lovecraft with it.
Okay. Well, that will I will get to H.P. Lovecraft and Witch House in a few minutes. I just want to do a few random other questions first.
Yeah,
When you got into acting, you auditioned for something without any previous experience, and you got the part.
right.
Can you
Yeah,
tell
Candy's
us a
here.
little bit about that?
Oh yeah. Well, when I first started out, I it was just through a group on Facebook. And I just liked on a casting from Mike of Faux Pas Films. And I mean, and it said something about the part had nudity or this and that. Well, he, I didn't even comment, but he wrote me and asked me if I wanted to audition. I'm like, well, I've never acted before. And I was like, why not? Sure. He's like, I'll send you some sides. I'm like, what are sides? you know, I mean, I knew absolutely nothing about any of it. And so he sent me the sides and I did the audition, and there's a few other girls up for the part that were seasoned actresses, and but I ended up getting it. I thought he was just messing with me at first, but um no, I ended up getting it and doing it. And then I helped out with production on that film a little bit, and then like in the editing process I helped out with the music because I knew some bands and helped them get some music for it. And just kind of went from there because at the same time I was working the Rob Zombie haunt. I also helped out film on Leaf Blower Massacre 2 because Anthony Cooney was the director, filmmaker on that, was the producer of Candy's Harem. And he's like, well, hey, some girls didn't show up. I'm going to come do this. And then, so I always ended up in these coincidental parts that I, wouldn't have had if it didn't happen coincidentally. Some girls didn't show up for Cafe Kremlin, and um, instantly I was on that one little TV show bit. So yeah, just one thing after the next, like, oh well, there's this girl, and a lot of it was, well, there's this girl that will do nude stuff, is what a lot of it was. But which I'm trying to steer away from that now, but I did a lot of that early on. Um, because to me it wasn't that big of a deal as long as I wasn't actually really doing anything. um I was okay with that, so that's
And
how I started.
what did you want to be when you were a little kid growing up?
Well, it's funny because when I was real little I was told that I should be an actress because of this little temper tantrum I threw. And then I kind of got that idea. I was like, yeah, I, I should do that. I'd probably be good at that. But then my thing was I really wanted to be on the stage and performing and singing and playing my guitar. And then as I got older, even yet, after I broke my arm and things like that, I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. That never panned out. But so yeah, that's about it. I wanted to do acting. I wanted to be a model. I wanted to um, be a superstar singer on stage. The next Stevie Nicks or something.
Well, you've kind of done all that already.
A little bit, not as
Uh,
much as the singing. I'm getting too old to be going around and performing on stage. Like, it would be cool to record with some people doing an actual song. Just do one and be on it, some vocals or something. But I couldn't do like a whole album and keep up with it and do all that and go on tour, although it would be fun. And that's, like I said, originally one of the main things I wanted to do. But the older I get, I'm like, kind of glad I'm not stuck touring and doing all that. I know it's fun, but then I know a lot of bands and they get sick of it. They just want their bed.
Well, we're kind of glad you're not touring anyway, because now you're acting. You've got a really a cool movie. I saw, I was able to watch it. Witch House, based on H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie. I am not just saying that because I'm interviewing you. I've told everybody that I know that's a fantastic movie. Tell us, how did you get the part, and tell us a little bit about the movie. Without, I'm not asking for any spoilers, but
Right. Well, let's see. I got the part by, well, Bobby had an idea. Bobby Easley, filmmaker, director, Bobby. And we were at the Days of the Dead convention. I can't remember. I think it was an Indianapolis one. And we were at the hotel pool, and he seen me swimming around like a fish. And it was just like ding, like I could see, he said something, I could see you swimming into other dimensions and things like that. It looks so cool. And he's like, I got this idea. Well, I got to write a script first. So, so then he
wow.
gets a hold of me after he writes the script, but then he tells me, well, we got these guys in California looking at it. Brian Usna, who was, I think he produced or wrote one of the other, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He had part in Reanimator, and then John Penny, Night of the Living Dead 3. Those guys, so they were consulting in them, and they were doing the casting and auditioning for the lead role. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, so now I got to audition for this. He was like, yeah, okay, well, whatever. And so I said, I'm horrible at auditions. I'm terrible, Bobby. I'm like, because I like to be in the moment, real there doing it. And they turned like 15 girls and me down, me twice. And finally, Bobby just went with his gut and went with me. I think Dustin K is the one that suggested me
Wow.
at one of the Days of the Dead. So, and then the movie itself, I play Alice Gilman, who I'm a graduate student, and I'm doing this dissertation. I'm studying how this geometry and this. I found this cloth of Enoch under the floorboards of this house, the Hannah Mansion, which I go stay at because I'm running from an abusive boyfriend. And all of it kind of starts coming together with my studies with this house. It's like it's the key to this other dimension. And so I'm, it's like I'm in and out of dreams. You never know when it's a reality or a dream, which the dreams are me in a different dimension. And they kind of tie together. And I don't want to give any spoilers or anything like that, but I end up being, how do you want to say, but demons, like these entities from these other dimensions, get through to me in my real world, basically. Is what it
Well,
boils
well
down
put.
to.
Well put, without revealing anything. That was very well put.
Okay,
Um,
thank you. I was
no,
like, I
no,
was already
no,
there.
absolutely. I was wondering how you're gonna, and that was perfect.
Okay, good.
There were some really intense scenes. I'm not, again, there's gonna be no spoilers in this. I'm saying that for the rest of
Okay.
the interview, but there were some really intense scenes. Are those scenes hard, or are those scenes what you really love, like to the challenge of them?
Depends on what you mean intense scenes. Like they don't show a lot of it, but like me on the bathroom floor when I'm coming up out of one of the dreams and Julie's over me, like, hey, wake up, I was in there for half an hour to an hour just screaming my head off. It was draining. It really takes a physical toll. And then when I'm drained like that and I'm crying and showing all these emotions, it actually will break my immune system down, like because it stresses your body out and stuff to really go through some of that. So I mean, yeah, it could be taxing on me at times, physically and emotionally, and because there were some crying scenes and things like that, and I have to get into my little bubble, and then it's hard to pull yourself out sometimes because I don't just act it. I have to really make myself feel something and think of something that takes me there. So um yeah, it can be definitely draining. There's a lot of moments like that, and there's a lot of fun moments where I get to you know stab somebody to death or something, and I go AWOL and I'm stabbing a watermelon or a pumpkin or something, and um like get to take that aggression out. So stuff like that was actually kind of stress relieving and fun. The things that you think would be more taxing like that are not. It's the emotional roller coaster, that and the lack of sleep because you're pushing and pushing to get stuff done. It's independent, not a Hollywood film where they're on like a, oh, we're going to work 8 to 12 hours today. No, we're having 16 and 19-hour days sometimes, you know. That was, I think the longest on Witch House was probably 16, but I think Second Chances we went like 19 hours one day. Like it was brutal.
So when you're done filming that, you know, you said it's a roller coaster, and I get that, the emotion and coming up and down. When you're done filming that, like how long does it take you to kind of recover and get back to, for lack of a better term, like a normal, you know, day?
It depends on how um, taxing it is. Like that day that I probably sat there and screamed my head off and had to do all that for a while. It probably takes me a couple of days to feel better. Like I'm okay right after that, but then it like sets in by the time I go to bed at night, and my throat would be hoarse. I'd start feeling kind of like sick or under the weather a little bit because it, like I said, it breaks my immune system
Sure.
down. That takes me a couple of days, I think, sometimes to actually feel better.
And when you saw the finished product, what did you think?
I was excited, and I liked overall how everything turned out. I mean, everybody's got their things, and you know, especially when I look at myself at certain spots, I'll criticize myself. I'm like, oh, I could have said that better or done that better. But um overall, I think that everything turned out really well. And I mean, we shot a lot of stuff. We shot almost 2 movies with all the footage that we had. There's a lot that didn't make it to it. Um, but with everything that went on and different ways we shot stuff, I was surprised too because it didn't go by the original script. Shit changed. So um I didn't really know how it was going to come together until I saw it. And Bobby's one of them. He didn't let any of us see it like ahead of time. He's like, nope, you see it when everybody else sees it, kind of thing. So it's like, but you know what's funny is I was actually just talking to JD recently at the Indianapolis Days of the Dead, and I'm like, there's some stuff that I thought that we had that tied, you know, some of this stuff better together at the end. And like you can't hardly tell that I'm pregnant and in one part and giving birth. And it's they're all around me, and they were actually chanting as a thought and stuff around me. And I'm like, what happened to all that? And you could actually see like far away that I had a belly and everything else. And he said something happened in the final, like when they downloaded or something like that. And there was a few things that somehow didn't make it in there that were supposed to. So because I told him, I said there was that, like that was a little confusing for me at first. I said if I didn't know I was giving birth, that maybe other people wouldn't. Um, so he oh, sorry, my one cat's over here bugging me now. But it, it all came together though, even without those in there. I think people get the idea and the gist and everything what we're going for. And for a low budget independent film, is not, you know, a Hollywood blockbuster or anything. You know, there's few people working on it, a handful, not a crew, huge crew of people doing all of this, and no huge budget to do all this. It was what we were given and what we had and how they put everything together. And I think everybody did a phenomenal job. And it's what made it come together. It was such great teamwork, you know.
Now, one of your fans, a good friend of mine, and I'm sure you'll know who he is, Tony Fedler, asked
Yeah.
me to, he gave me a couple questions, so I'm going to ask you his questions. He wanted to know if Witch House will be streaming anytime soon.
Oh, well, yeah, you can actually find that now on Amazon Prime. I think there's one Spectrum that it's on. I'm not sure with Apple and that. I know Walmart has it where you can order a DVD, but those are the ones that I know of. You probably best doing a Google search for that now. It should all show up since it was released July 5th.
And is it possible, without giving away a secret, is it possible that the movie might be revisited in sequel or any type of revisit to the movie?
Well, I don't think that they really have. I think they were going to leave that as just like a closed chapter, like, but shoot, the way that it was left, I could see it like if there was like demand for it or something, I could see them doing it like maybe just call it Keziah and go back to like the history of the witch or something. I mean, you could even, leave it open the other direction, like going forward. But I don't think that they are. I think they, are moving on to other projects and stuff. But who knows? Down the road, they might just decide to do it.
Well, speaking of the projects, do you have anything in the future that you're working on that you can talk about?
Yeah, currently, working on a music video. When we get off of here, I got to go back to taking my notes for editing for my editor and stuff. That's very, very tedious. For the band Malice Dextra, that song's called Pit. I already did a music video with them or for them last year, and Bobby was actually in it called Unspoken Words, and I got to get him back with a spray bottle after all that sweat. He's like, "Oh, this is payback for Witch House, isn't it?" I'm like, "Yep." But and then I also brought him and JD in on The Ultimate Throwdown, which is my fiance's film, and I actually met him on it last November. It's an action drama. It's my first like action type film. It's more action than anything. It's got a little horror to it, drama, a little romance, a little bit of everything, kind of subtle comedy. But that we're working on right now too, and we're working on a new trailer for it because we got to get a little bit of funding up to do some reshoots. So we got some reshooting to do on that, but that's what I'm working on now. I did a Torture the Flesh recently with Chivi's Films, and that is, I think they need a little more funding right now. That's in editing. And anybody that goes to my Facebook page, I mean, scroll down a little bit, you'll see the link if they want to help out with that. That's it right at the moment. I'm not as swamped as I usually am.
Well, that's pretty busy though. You like to keep busy. How cool for you, you got into acting, you've done a whole bunch of things. How does it feel when you're at these conventions and the people are coming up to you and, just saying all sorts, and guys like me, saying all sorts of nice things to you and loving your films and everything you do?
It's a really good feeling. Like this last show, I went and watched, or at the last convention, I watched the showing of Witch House at the Indianapolis Days of the Dead. And right afterwards, I spent about an hour behind the table signing stuff for people at that one. And this one guy comes up, I think his name was Scott, and he brings me these photos back when my hair was short. I was wearing costume at another Days of the Dead convention. They were professional photos that he walks around with a professional camera, and he had them printed out because he follows me on Facebook, and he's seen I was going to be there, and he brought these up for me to sign. And I don't know, that was a really good feeling to have. It's like, well, it made me think maybe I actually do actually have like fans, like, because
Of course you do.
I consider everybody like that I meet kind of like acquaintances, friends. I'm friendly with everybody, so I guess I don't think of it as fans. I mean, some I do, and I see that, and it's a good feeling. It's nice to feel like you're doing something that people enjoy and are paying attention to when you're doing something that you just love to do.
Well, I'm a friend and certainly a fan. I
Oh,
totally loved I totally loved Witch House. I really did. Um,
thank
Tony,
you.
who I mentioned earlier, he loved Witch House. I will be streaming it or buying the DVD because I'm showing it to everybody I can because I just thought it was really cool.
Oh, thanks.
Before I let you go, is there anywhere you want to tell your fans where to find you?
The best place for me these days is honestly Facebook because I shut my Twitter down and my Instagram. I'm kind of on, but not so much. I need to be more active with that stuff again. But you can find me by searching or go to the URL facebook.com/ Shellyn213, and that's CHELLELYNN 213. But that's, I mean, that's pretty much, that's my main That's my main social media right there. And I write everybody back at some point. It might take me a week, but I do get back to everybody unless it's something crude or obnoxious or something. And
Well, we hope none of that. Yeah, we those people could stay away.
yeah,
But
they can keep certain pictures to themselves.
Michelle, it's really been a pleasure. I've known you for a lot of years. You've always been super awesome at conventions. I've got probably a dozen photos with you over the years, and I really appreciate your time. And I encourage everybody to check out Witch House. You guys are great. Bobby, I've known him for years, and he's super creative, super talented, as are you. So I'm encouraging everybody to check it out, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, and I appreciate you having me. And I can't wait for our next picture at the next Days of the Dead.
You know, I'll be looking for you.
We need to make you need to take and make and print all those out, and then we'll just put it in like one frame, and then I'll just like sign it across it like with
Absolutely.
all of them.
That's a deal. Next time.
All right. All of our pictures together from each convention.
It covers a lot of years, but it's all good. It's all good memories.
Right on.
Thanks,
Well,
Michelle.
it's great talking to you, John. It's been a while. It's good talking to you.
We'll do it again. Thanks, Michelle.
All right.
All right. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.